This is the story of Jesus cursing a fig tree.
All right, let's see it.
This is Mark chapter 11. And Jesus entered into Jerusalem, and when he had looked around about and seen all things, and the eventide was come, he went out unto Bethany with the 12. And on the morrow, when they come from Bethany, Jesus was hungry. And seeing a fig tree afar off, having leaves, he came to it, if haply he might find anything thereon. But when he came to the tree, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of figs was not yet. And Jesus answered and saith unto the tree, No man shall eat fruit of thee hereafter and forever. And the disciples heard it.
So I'm going to interrupt real quick to say two things. First, there are actually 5 verses 15 through 19, that he's just going to skip over without mentioning. But that's the story of Jesus going into Jerusalem and cleansing the temple. And that is an important part of what this story before and after is doing. This is one of Mark's sandwich stories. And the second thing is, most people pronounce that word that the King James Version spells S-A-I-T-H as saith, but it was actually just pronounced Seth, just like the word said, but with a TH instead of a D.
And in the morning when they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots and dead. And Peter, calling to remembrance, saith unto him, Master, behold, the fig tree which thou dost cursest has withered away and died. And Jesus answered and saith unto them, Have faith in God. What the fuck kind of a Jesus story is that? Hey, Jesus, you killed a tree. That's right, motherfucker. What's the fucking point to this story? What is the moral?
So there is a point to this story, but it's not a moral one. And the notion that we should be finding a moral lesson in all of these stories is just a part of the post-biblical renegotiation of the text's meaning and significance. And that renegotiation frequently silences and obscures what the authors were actually trying to communicate. And here the story is about Jesus' judgment on the Jerusalem temple and the Jewish community around it and what happened to them. And this text is being written in a time when the people know the temple has been destroyed. So the people hearing this story know the temple is going to be destroyed. And it's important that Jesus' cleansing of the temple, because it has become a den of thieves, is sandwiched in between the two parts of the story. So Jesus shows up in Jerusalem, checks out Jerusalem, and then when he comes to the fig tree, which is conspicuously across the valley from the temple, he expects fruit, just like he expects when he shows up to Jerusalem. But there's no fruit, which is judging the temple and its leadership there in Jerusalem, saying, you are not bearing fruit through your living of our tradition. And so Jesus curses it. And this is similar to having condemned the leadership for turning the temple into a den of thieves. Now he says there won't be any more fruit at all from this tree ever, which is a reference to the fact that the Jerusalem temple would not be able to make things right. It was about to be destroyed. The leadership was going to be scattered. And so Jesus says no more fruit ever. The temple's not coming back. The temple is staying destroyed. Now this was written in a time before the rise of Rabbinic Judaism, before Judaism was able to organize itself and move forward with the Pharisaic tradition. And so the idea is that the temple has been destroyed, Jewish leadership has scattered Jerusalem, no more is the home of this tradition. And so when the disciples point this out the next day and Jesus says, have faith in God, the idea is, hey, the temple's destroyed, the leadership is gone, what's going to happen? And Jesus says, have faith in God. In other words, something better is coming, namely the gospel of Jesus Christ.